Hang on. Alright guys, I got a little treat for you today. It's a little bit early on in the damn broadcast to be doing this, but thought I'd show you guys something. Got an eye mold. That's what you call an eye mold, okay? And I'm trying to do the eye for this guy. This is the Manhattan version, the toxic waste version of the Manhattan Monster. And I can't get the eyes. I've got these eyes in my little bucket. And I can't really get these already set and done right. Because I don't know what colors to use if I want to do this. Or if I just want to paint it in. But every time I go to paint it in, it doesn't look right. And that's what throws me. You know, because I don't like the fact that they don't look right. So, what I do is, like I said, I've got a bunch of eye sets here. And then I've got these that I'm going to make. And what I'm going to do, show you guys, because I'm working on trying to get the eye set that I want made. And I figured just figured it'd be easier to make it myself. So, what I can do, I'll show you guys how I do this. I did this in taxidermy a few years ago, but it wasn't that easy because all we did was make the eye sets, the blanks, and then they got sent off to somebody to paint up. So it wasn't the same as what I'm doing now, because what I'm doing now is a whole different ball of wax. So what I'm doing now is basically showing you guys how this works. And I'm going to put this camera down on the table there so you can see me this. Alright? And basically I got the eye set right here. I got 2-part resin here. Let's shake it out. Then you got to measure out what you want to use in your resins. Okay. Take a little bit of A, a little bit of B. And you put it in there. And I think that might be enough. I don't know. I might put a little bit more in that. There we go. So dribble, drabble, drop more. That's probably too much. Just stir it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, blah, 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 blah. See, this is where I could benefit from having more than one mold. Then after you get it stirred up, you just pour it in there. Boop. Boop. Yep. See, I did use too much resin. And don't have any reason to use this on anything else, so I'll just leave it there. That has to sit and set for a little bit. If it sits and sets quickly enough, I might be able to go back, pour some more in there before that sets. But it's 120-second resin, so it will set, and it might not cure in time. That's the only thing. But the idea is, like I said, with these guys that I've got over here, I've got some flat ones that are cloudy looking that I don't know if that's going to work. Then I've got these guys here, which are basically cloudy, but they're colored, and I put their glue on the back. But the thing is, if I do this, and I take this and drill the hole out, then I've got to go in here on the bottom and put this eye up here. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. So, I thought, well, you know what, let's see if we can find out how that's going to work together. So I'll set this off to the side so it can cure right there. I'll set that over there as well because it's going to set up. Unplug that. Now see, I could put the eye in there. I've dremelled an eye all the way through here. The trick is to Dremel without ruining the paint job. I should have actually done this beforehand, but I didn't do it. And so I've got this Dremel. This is a hollow piece. And shit, that's smoking like a fucking cigarette, boy. So I've got that Dremeled all the way through. Now, the thing is why is it smoking so much? I'm not smoking, I know that much. So I take one of these eyes like this, and I put it back behind here. Now the whole thing is to... Oh, okay, this thing's smoking. I gotcha. The whole thing is to put the eye back here behind it, but it doesn't quite look right. So I have to Dremel it out some more and make sure that it fits in the contours of that stuff. So now the thing about the Dremeling, I have to Dremel behind it to make sure that I can get all the eyes flush up against here. Now I just take, I'll take one of my sculpting tools with an edge on it, and I will just carve that out, scrape that off. The thing about Dremeling into resin, it smokes when you do it. That's why there's smoke coming up, because it's heated and it's smoking. So let me get a let me see what we got here. I don't have anything with a knife on. I'm gonna have to get my little thing out. Let me get a little blue one. Yep, Exacto. Just very careful and want to make sure that I cut out the insides of this really good. Now, of course, I'm going to have to go back in and paint over this eye portion on the outside. But this is the toxic version, the one-of-a-kind toxic version. Okay, so let's take an eye and put it back here. We'll use one for an example. I've got this one right here. Now put that back there, and I put it in there. So it's not quite set to where I want it to be, to look right, but you kind of get the idea. And it's got to be set where it's flush up against the thing. So what I usually do is with some of these, like I've got my smaller sets here that I use on the Godzilla. And this is one that might work, but I'll have to see if I can get some epoxy, put it behind there. But I really wanted to think about, okay, if I'm going to make these, how are they going to look? And of course, this being a dead zombie eye, you know, it fits, it works, but it doesn't look right. The look of the eye itself is not looking right. That's why I kind of want to go with one of these, because they're different colors. You know, you can just, you know, cloud them over and that type of thing, make it look a little bit dead or cloudy or whatnot. And that's why I said I've got this set here, where lo and behold, this is curing. And it'll be cured in about 15 minutes. But still got a little Dremel work to do. Now these eyes are always going to work better than the painted versions. And this is where it takes some time, because I've got to drill it out. Got to make sure the back part, and that's the thing I can't see in here, is getting in here in the back part and dremeling it, making sure they fit. I can see an area where I've just missed a little bit on this. Thing is, when you do resin pours, the inside of the mold never looks like anything on the outside. If you guys have bought from Scareware or you bought other resin pieces, the inside is always goofy looking. However, and I'm not foam filling these because Bob showed me how to do the foam filling or non-foam filling thing on this. So I don't have to foam these, which thankfully is a better idea than having to foam them. Because if you foam them, they can get a little bit heavier than what they normally would be. Now here I'll show you a better example. Here's the eye. Now see? See how much better that looks? I just got to find the right color. But that's pretty much what I think I'll go with on this. I just got to paint the outside, which I can do real quick. It'll take 2 seconds. I may have to Dremel out a little bit more. But this particular one is a one-of-a-kind toxic waste version. I'll show you the example of the differences. This guy right here with the mask on from Duke Togo. Duke Togo made this mask for me. I'll put that over there for a second. This guy, you see the coloration is a little bit different. I can turn this into a toxic waste or I can turn it into a regular one. But it won't look as good in the paint job as this one. Because the difference in between the two, this guy has a burnt piece on top of his head, which naturally occurred in the resin. If you see the photos of what I posted, this is the first casting, this is the second casting, I've got third casting in white. And I've yet to do this one up. This will probably be a regular Manhattan Monster. This one has a little bit of a defect on the back where the seam shifted while I was doing the casting, so I've got to see if I can Dremel that and fill that in, fix that part. But it sits up there. It's the same thing as this. This one's like, you know, just I kind of painted it up. Didn't do it regular colors. Oh, look. The eyes have set. Let's see. So while we're talking, these eyes have been setting up. Or at least this resin has. Look at that. That's the wasted resin. Woohoo! So, I've got that. Of course, this gets thrown out because it's no good. I can likely use this for something later, so I'll find somewhere to save it. Maybe just put it back in there and just set it off to the side and save it. I don't like to waste materials if I can help it. But the thing about this is to do the repaint on this and not mess up the eye details too much. And that's what I'm going to do right now with a brand new brush. And I'll put you guys over here for a second. I'm going to put a brand new brush on here. And it's not going to be that much to do. I can usually knock these out in a couple of days. If I get out here and get in the zone and do what I'm supposed to do. Put a little bit of dark in there. Woohoo! Well, a little bit more. There's a wee bit more. Don't need but a couple of drops and a couple of sprays, that's it. You gotta make sure shit wants to come out first. Come on. Embarrassing me. It's like all this water in this hose wants to come out or something. That's the only thing about airbrushes. Sometimes you get a buildup of moisture, especially when it gets colder, and it can cause some problems. Okay, well, shit, if this airbrush wants to be difficult, that's fine. I'll do it by hand. I just do it by hand. I'll just take a regular brush here and just dip it in here and just do it by hand. No biggie deals. Not that big a deal. It's not that big an issue. It's just, you know. What I wanted to do was kind of blend this in. I just put that in there. Then you take a sponge and lightly dab it to get the excess off so it'll blend in color-wise. See, the problem is that dust has lightened everything up in Dremel, so it makes it look lighter than it should. Now, the thing about this piece is it goes, got a couple of wash pieces here. I'm doing this. It goes to a different coloration than the film because of the way the resin casts. But you can see it's just brown on the outside, and then there's toxic waste on his face. And there's toxic green all around here. I still got to work in a little bit of detail on teeth. The teeth are not 100%. So that'll be something I can do. And I'll work in the mouth a little bit. So find out what's clogging this brush. Yeah, there's a clog in there somewhere, so I'm gonna worry about that later. I can do these teeth with a brush, and that's no problem either, because I'm gonna do opaque white on these. I was gonna do old bone white, but old bone white comes out with a whitish yellow color, which is okay. That's the difference between this piece and the normal Manhattans that you see. The normal Manhattans have mush mouth and they look like a fucking jack-o'-lantern. And I never did like that. That's why I wanted to do one that was more continuity correct, if you will. And just put, there's a broken tooth here too. And that's by design. So the broken tooth has a crown on it. And just dabbling some paint like that on there on the teeth. Make sure they're accented and done up well. Then of course there's going to be different colors because obviously he got toxic waste in his mouth. So that goes without saying that, yeah, there's going to be a little bit color difference and stuff, but hopefully it's not going to be too bad. So what I try to do is erase some of that white that sprayed in there. Of course, you have to accent the mouth and you have to accent around the teeth. There is a little tooth back here I missed. There's a little bit broken tooth I forgot about right back here. Let me get some of the old bone white real quick. And I'll do up the last tooth here. I forgot about the one in the back here. There's a little bitty tooth right back here. Right there. Another broken off tooth. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, a broken tooth, 5, a broken tooth, and broken tooth here. Those were the design changes I made for making this unique. A little bit of bone white on there and just blend that in. Now this one will go on my Etsy store in the next day or two. And I gotta tell you guys up front, the resin pieces are not inexpensive. These are more expensive than the mask. But I show you what goes into them so you can see the details. And they are worth it. If you look at any of the customers that I have for the Vengeance ones, the guy in the UK, they paid a pretty penny for those. This one, like I said, is unique, one of a kind. It's not going to be anything like $500. It'll probably be about $350. If you live in the UK or across outside the United States, I do have to charge a flat rate of like $50, $60 on shipping because of the fact that it costs so much to ship these things. But I promise you I would do everything in my power to make these worth it. Not necessarily just to sell them, but just to make them unique collector's pieces. So there you go. It's a tooth job that's going to get refined a little bit. When I go in, I'll probably take an airbrush and hit it a little bit when I figure out what's wrong with the airbrush. Put some more opaque white on there. Mix up a little bit of coloration like dirty yellow or something. Put it on there. And then I have yet to figure out which eye to put in here. But if I can find the right color eye, the right color eye will go in there. So I got to work the details out a little bit. I got to refine the back side of this just a wee bit. Doesn't quite yet fit. But Jason jumped to having brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. So I don't know which color to pick, and I've got a variety of them, but I'm actually trying to work on another one that will fit just more so. Thing is to Dremel this out where it's flush up against what I need to set it up. And be careful not to Dremel out the details in the front. Wish there was an easier way to do this, but there's not. And this is going to be standard protocol pretty much for all of these. If I can ever get the right eyes figured out. I'm going to go with this because it's a particular one-of-a-kind piece. I'm going to go with, and by the way, this all gets glossed over after the fact of me setting in the eye set and everything. Making sure that's good. Brian Minnick, if you're watching, do you remember doing this for eyes for deers and stuff like that? I don't know if you ever had the old Metter eye sets. The Metter eyes, Joe Metter's eyes. But when you do deer forms, they're made out of foam. So it's easier to do it rather than resin. I don't think I've worked in resin with anything other than fish. And I didn't do but 1 or 2 fish. I didn't like doing fish at all. Let me see if this looks any better with the flat ones. Yeah, they're not setting in there just right. I got to really Dremel this out in the curve. It's where it takes a lot of the work. You really have to Dremel out and redefine these eyes where they're set right. I over Dremel and I always go back with epoxy putty and put it in there. And like I said, the eyes are going to have to set. So, dropping stuff. Come on. Come on. Idiot. Oh, crap. There we go. Alright. Got it. Okay. That's about right there. That's about right. That's about right there. So, if I pick the right color, that is the eye set. I don't know what color you to use, like brown or whatnot, but that will pretty much be it. All I have to do is take some epoxy putty, and I've got that in here somewhere, sculpted epoxy putty, and I'll find that and do that. But I'm going to find and dig around in my eye sets and see if I can find the right thing. But just to show you guys, that's it. It's set right there. So, if you guys like that, let me know if you want a different color or whatnot, because that will be the eye to go in there. Alright? These are 12 millimeters. I've got blue, I've got green. Here's a gray one. It's probably a better set right there. Could look better. I just don't know. I'll have to go back and look at the photos, find out what color Kane's got, or what color they use for the one in the Manhattan. Now, to show you guys what these look like when they come out, come over here to the mold, which is cured up. Just pop these bad boys out, trim them out. That's what they look like before I do any of the coloration, all that, just indented thing. See? Same size and everything. All it is just indentions. I find the coloration, put that in there, put the black in there, then dribble over the resin, and then coat glaze everything over the top. So, we'll be making these on a regular as well. But what I'm working on is to do a set of eyes that will work not just for resin, but also mass displays. And these are going to be probably about $30 or $40, somewhere in there. Might be, depending on how good they come out. So, I've got a set that I'm trying to work up, find the right look for. And these are not just for this particular piece. These are also eyes that will be used for Arnold and Terminator and that type of thing. So they'll be used for a variety of things. In any case, I'm going to run in, try to figure out, I got to find my epoxy. I think it's in the house. I think I used it for something in there. So anyway, I'm going to run for now, and we'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it.